So I've been looking ahead and I'm realizing, well, not so much realizing, when I was doing some prep work for chapters 12 and 17. Chapters 12 is how to use classes, and chapter 7 is how to work with input output. Um, as I was kind of going through that and looking at the solutions, they were definitely kind of mushed together. And I thought that it might be a little challenging, I would think anyway, to absorb the material. So instead, what I'm going to do is, instead of just going through the back of the solutions for probably 17, by the way, would have material from both 12 and 17. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to take us through at least 5-part series where we're going to basically deal with file input and output, and we're going to deal with classes, and believe it or not, and lists and stuff, and it'll be great. And then that'll prep us, and then I'll go through the solution for chapter 17. So all these this next set, which I have yet to figure out what the title is going to be, but the next set is basically file, IO, and then eventually we start heading into classes. So now, here's the deal. When we're trying to learn stuff like this, sometimes jumping right into an already existing pretty complicated application is going to be harder. Plus, when we're dealing with the .NET framework. So when we're dealing with file IO, what we're going to do is we're going to start with a very simple space. We're going to go and do what I call the mental space. So we're going to create a new project, and it's going to be a console application. Just find console up there if you want. Console application, dead easy. Call it something. Where's this going to go? Okay, it's going to go there. I'm just going to call this. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to write something out to a file. So I'm going to call it hello world. Hello world. Write. All right. This could still blow up, but let's have a look. Is this going to work? It's going to work. Okay, we're going to go. All right. So the Hello World program, right? Very easy. It starts off with a basic class here. We're going to run it, and what we're going to see is Hello World is going to show up written out to the console. All right. We want to change this. So what it's going to do is it's going to write to a file. That's what we're going to do. So a couple minor things we're going to do. First of all, is I'm going to take that literal out of Hello World. I'm going to make it a message, which is going to be assigned Hello World. I'm just coming back from lunch, by the way, so I'm sure I'm going to make plenty of mistakes. One of them I'm already making is that message what is it? What is message is what this thing's asking me. It's a string. All right, so it's a string. There's message. It's now saying, hey, just so you know, you're not using it. I'm going to say, thanks very much for helping me with that. There you go. So now basically I've just taken the literal out, and I've made it into a variable. Awesome. I would expect that to work. Now, the next thing is, how do we actually write? Now, in chapter 17, they introduce us to this really cool, very powerful, I guess, class, and it's called Stream Writer. Now, at this point, Stream Writer, it doesn't seem to know what that is. So if I move over, it says, I don't know what this is. What is Stream Writer? Stream Writer is a really cool class, but it doesn't come in for free. We have to bring in another library here. We're going to start and say we're going to be using system.io. Now watch, as soon as I do this and I hit that button, and then I move back over here, now it's, geez, well, that was sweet. Anyway, trust me, it would have had a problem without the R, with the R anyway. But now at least it knows what it is. I tell you what, you don't have to trust me. Don't trust me. Here, let me just do that. Once I comment it out, it says, I don't even know what this thing is. Now when I bring it back, it's basically saying, I know what this is, but you're not using it right. That's what it's saying there. All right, so Stream Writer is basically a class. And what we're going to do is I'm going to create a Stream Writer, an instance of the Stream Writer class. I'm going to create something called text out. Okay, I'm going to create text out. That's just a variable, just like message, right? Message is an instance of the string class. Text out is an instance of the Stream Writer class. All right, so that's cool. I could, in theory, just end it right now, and at least the syntax errors are out. But right now, I've just created something that is possible to take information from the program and stream it out. That's what I just got. So we need to basically pass in some stuff. Definitely Google this or look in the book. There's some really neat things going on here. But I'm going to just go crazy. I'm going to basically assign it. It's going to be a new stream writer, and this is a constructor. Remember, that's a constructor. This what this will do is it'll create a variable of that class, and then take this method, the constructor method of that class, and construct a stream writer object, and then put it or assign it to text out. All right, but anyway, we're not feeding it the right information. So it's basically saying, Grant, what's in here? Well, the first thing I need to do is I need to give it a new file stream. Now, the thing is, with the file stream, it's going to need a path, it's going to need a mode, and it's going to need an access. Now, some of the stuff we can actually, so by the way, path, let me talk about that. It's going to need to know where to put the file. It's going to need to know what kind of mode are you going to access the file in. For you guys in Python land, you might remember we talked about this. We had read, write, and read append. And then access is what are you going to do? You know, with the file. So are you going to write it? Or are you going to read from it and so on? Actually, realizing access is probably what the Python was with read, write, and append. But anyway, with the mode, we're talking more or less. Actually, well, I'll show you when I type it up. So path, I'm going to leave vague for now, but what a mode is, I don't know. So you know what's cool here is that I don't know how to create a mode, but I don't have to because there's this thing called file mode. File mode, if I hit the dot, these are all the various modes that we have, right? And you can see my confusion by the way with Python because it does have an append mode. It's got an open or create, a create new, and so on. I'm just going to write this brand new to a brand new file. By the way, notice, please note the help that's sitting right beside. If I go create basically says it's going to create a file. If it already exists, it's going to overwrite. That's very, very similar to the write mode in Python. So I'm going to basically say, hey, do the create. So this guy's going to create the file. Access, it's not really called access. There's this thing out there called file access, very similar to file mode. When I hit the dot, there's a bunch of different modes. In this case, we're going to write. And then basically a semicolon. Now, we're not doing super good here, but we've gotten rid of most of these errors. But what we haven't really dealt with is the path. I'm trying to think, why are you mad here? I'm not sure why you're mad here. You should be mad. Oh, by the way, I'll tell you one thing you should be mad at is that there's two closed parentheses. All right, still though, I'm going to go on faith that this is going to work, but it's not going to work yet because I don't have the path. So what would a path be normally? A path would be basically where is the file and what is the file. So I could, if I want, right in here, create a path, create a, well, first of all, I guess I could try to hard code it in here. I could do that. Should I do that? No, every fiber of my being is hating doing that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to create myself a variable. So, and I am trying to head us towards a destination. So I want the code to be closer to it, but I'm going to create myself a string. Okay, I'm going to create myself a string. The string is going to be called directory, and the directory is going to be, now I can't just go d:/college. My plan, by the way, is to put it, right, where are we? My plan is to basically put it right here. So I'm going to take this directory, copy, and I'm going to throw it right. Wow, I don't know what I just did there, but I'm going to do that. Now that's not going to work, right? At the very least, you'd think it should be a string. And by the way, there's another slash at the end of this because that's the path. But notice that it's saying, hey, I've got these issues with the string. The reason it's got the issues with the string is because these characters typically mean things like a new line or a tab. So one way we could solve this problem, believe it or not, is we could put 2 slashes down, and that would at least get us a fairly clean line. But that's gross, especially when you're dealing with really long ones. So there is a thing that C# gives us. If we put an ampersand in front, it's basically saying, okay, take this string exactly as it is. And so now we've got ourselves a nice dir as a string. Now that's the directory, but it's not the actual path. The path would contain also the name of the file too. So I'm going to go string file name. Oh, actually, no, string path. I'll go path. Okay, path. Well, no, let's be prompt here. Let's go file name. The file name, I'm going to call it hello.txt. Okay, so that's my file name. And so then the path will be assigned the dir concatenated with the file name. File name. Okay, you're got a case issue, so let's quickly do that. Done. All right. Semicolon. So now I got path, and now all of a sudden this thing looks like it's working. So at this point now, what it's going to be able to do is it's forget about this string for a second, but it's got a directory. It knows where the file is, what the file is named. It's got a path. If I ran it right now, it would basically actually open up a stream to that particular file. So I'm going to have this sitting over, actually, I don't need to keep safe anymore. I'm going to have this thing over here. Notice there's nothing here. All right, let's see what happens when I go run it. All right, so seemingly just the hello world comes to the console, but I will note, look, hello is showing up here. It's got nothing in it because I didn't write to it, but it's there. All right, so that's awesome. So now what I want to do is I want to write not to the screen necessarily, but I want to write to the actual, I want to write to the streaming object. So just like console has got a write line, watch this. If I go text, what do I call it? Text out, and I go dot, look at all those fabulous methods that are there. And I bet you write line is there. Exactly the same as console, which you should kind of get a little, happy feeling about. So now what I got is I got it going to the console, and I've got the same variable now going through the text out stream to the hello file in the college directory. I'm going to go run. It's going to blink again, which is awesome. And then if I go out, whoops, that's nice. But if I go out and I look at the actual file in, I had it, that's it, in B and in college, there's hello. It still says it's got not a 0 in it. Oh, good point. I was trying to get to this, but I guess I got to get to it now. So this has got a nice write to it. But remember, especially you Python veterans, you always want to make sure that you close the file when you're finished. Close it when you're finished. Let's go. That might not have had anything to do with why it didn't write it out, but now for sure it should have written it out. Yeah, so we can see something made it in, and there's your hello world. All right, so that is a really straight, simple taking something and writing it to the hard drive. And there's definitely some stuff here that you're going to want to digest before we go much further. Our next journey is going to be to read something from a file.